So who really owns your digital life? I'm talking about your usernames, your data, your entire online identity. Well, we're about to dive into a project that wants to fundamentally change the answer to that question by shifting the power away from giant corporations and putting it right back in your hands. You've probably heard the saying, right? If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. That's pretty much the internet we live on today. Our attention, our data, that's what's being sold. But this idea of a sovereign web, it just completely flips that on its head. The goal is that you're no longer the product. You're the owner. It sounds simple, but that one change is, well, it's absolutely massive.
Okay, so let's break down the actual problem here. The internet we use every day is built to centralize and hoard our data. It leaves us with basically no real control. I mean, think about it for a second. Your social media profile, your domain name, do you actually own any of it? Nope. You're basically just renting digital real estate from a few incredibly powerful landlords who can change the rules whenever they feel like it.
And that is the exact problem that a project called Linkspreed is trying to solve. They've laid out this whole vision for what they call a sovereign web, and it's built on 3 core technologies, 3 pillars that all work together to, you guessed it, give you back control. The whole goal here is pretty straightforward. Bridge the old, data hoarding web with this new, user-centric one. It's all about building the pipes, the infrastructure, to finally move away from these old systems and step into a future where you, the user, have the final say on your own information. That, in a nutshell, is data sovereignty. All right, let's get into the first pillar. It's called the Linkspreed Name Service, or LNS for short. And honestly, the easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like a brand new, totally decentralized phone book for the entire internet. Right now, we use something called the Domain Name System, or DNS. But the thing is, it's controlled by just a handful of big organizations. LNS is totally different. It's open, it's decentralized. And what that really means is that no single company or government can just decide to censor you or take away your digital address. That's a huge deal. Okay, so this new system unlocks some really cool and powerful features. First up, universal TLDs. All that means is you're not stuck with just .com or .org anymore. You could register pretty much anything, like yourname.home or ourclub.fun. It opens things up completely. Second, it creates easy human-readable names for this next version of the web, which they're calling Web4. But here's the most important part. It gives you sovereign ownership. Your domain isn't just a name you rent. It becomes a digital asset, something you actually truly own. So if there's one thing to take away from this first pillar, it's this. With a system like LNS, you stop being a renter. You're not just leasing your little slice of the internet anymore. You become the owner of your digital address. Full stop. Okay, great. So we've got these cool new addresses, but how do we actually get to them? How do we visit them? Well, that brings us right to pillar number 2, the Web4 Bridge. Think of this as the on-ramp to this new web. Now, it's tempting to just call this a browser, but it's really more than that. It's a purpose-built portal designed from the ground up to navigate this new decentralized world. It acts as a secure gateway, a safe interface between the old web we use every day and this new Web4 protocol. Because it's built to natively handle Web4 content, everything feels seamless and smooth. But here's the really critical part. It creates a secure sandbox for everything you do. What that means is you can play around with new apps and websites without worrying about exposing your personal data to trackers or letting something malicious get to the rest of your computer. It's a protected little bubble. And you can really see the evolution here. Web 2, that's most of what we use today, was about reading and writing content. Blogs, social media. Web 3 came along and added the own layer, giving us digital assets. But Web 4 introduces this final piece of the puzzle, automate. This is where it gets really interesting. It means you could have AI agents working for you securely inside this new framework, doing things on your behalf without you having to click every button. All right, so we've got our address from LNS, and we've got our vehicle, the Web4 Bridge. Now we need the most important piece, our ID, the thing that proves who we are in this new ecosystem. And that's pillar number 3, the sovereign identity file. The absolute best way to think about this is like a digital passport, one that you, and only you, are in complete control of. It's literally a file called a .UIID file, and it's basically a digital container that holds all your verified credentials, your proof of identity, maybe some financial info, whatever you decide to put in it. But here is the absolute game-changing difference.
This file lives on your device, your phone, your computer. It is never uploaded to some company's cloud server. But wait a minute. This brings up a really important question, right? If all your data is sitting with you, how in the world do you prove something, like say that you're over 21, to some website, without just sending them a picture of your driver's license for them to store and probably lose in a data breach? The answer is a really clever bit of math called a zero-knowledge proof. Now, the name sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Imagine you're at a club and the bouncer needs to know if you're over 21. With a zero-knowledge proof, it's like you can show him a magic box that just flashes a green light. He learns the one single fact he needs to know. Yep, you're old enough, without learning anything else about you. That's a zero-knowledge proof. Okay, so let's put it all together. We have the naming service for our address, the bridge for our vehicle, and the digital passport for our ID. When you combine all three of these pillars, you get this huge payoff. And it really all comes down to privacy, which leads to this incredible concept called mathematical compliance.
If you're a company right now trying to deal with privacy laws like GDPR in Europe or all the right-to-be-forgotten rules, it is an absolute nightmare. It's complicated, it's expensive. A system like this basically solves that entire headache from the ground up. And this right here, this is maybe the single most powerful idea in this whole thing. The quote says it all. Since the platform never holds the personally identifiable information, it cannot lose it in a breach. Just let that sink in for a second. The entire epidemic of massive data breaches could just go away. And that is what they mean by mathematical compliance. A company can't be forced by law to delete data that it never even had. You hold the data. You are the one who grants access, and you are the one who can revoke it. The compliance, the following of the rules, is literally built into the mathematics of how the whole system works.
So that leaves us with one final, pretty mind-blowing question to chew on. If a sovereign web like this really takes hold, and you're no longer forced to hand over your personal data to every single website and app you use, can that data ever really be stolen from you again?